It is a place of nothingness. No food, no clean water, no electricity. A camp with thousands of displaced people, mostly from Helmand, where children eat unripe tomatoes to survive, and the men try to help new arrivals, like this widow from Kunduz whose husband died in the fighting. A bag of flour is all they could buy for her. The stale pieces of bread are all she has to feed her 2 children, and they're not the only ones.
The people here owe a lot of money to the owners of the shops nearby as they took food from them. During the quarantine, people were selling their households to buy food. Now these people don't even have a blanket for themselves.
WHALI Khan has been stuck in this Kabul camp since it was built 16 years ago. Like most, unable to go back to Helmand and powerless to get a normal home here. Dozens of families from his province have found refuge here in recent weeks because of renewed fighting. And life is just as hard for them, with tens of thousands forced from their homes in Helmand. Many ran for their lives with no belongings. More than 220,000 people have been displaced by the fighting in Afghanistan in the last year, and many have to live in camps like this. The war and poverty prevent most of them from returning home. The coronavirus pandemic has pushed people deeper into poverty. Food prices because of border closures have skyrocketed across Afghanistan, making access to food for those internally displaced even harder. The UN has revised its humanitarian response plan because of the pandemic, and it's still not fully resourced to respond adequately.
At this point of time, the humanitarians are worried about providing sustained assistance over the winter and during the lean season, so that we don't see further increase in the numbers as we are seeing now from, let's say, between April and now. So the more funding and resources can be provided to the humanitarian response plan, which targets the most vulnerable and acutely food insecure and those who are in emergency needs, the better we can predict that more people may not fall into the high food insecure category in the future.
The Afghan government says its priority is the newly displaced. For those displaced for years and who may never return home, the future appears as complex as the present.
We are responsible to get them on the list for land distribution and investigate if they are eligible. If they are, the Ministry of Rural Rehabilitation and Development is responsible to give them the land and the UN to build a house for them there.
Winter is setting in, and for the people of this camp, the worry for now is how to survive the coming months if help doesn't arrive soon. Filio, Kontrafouri, Al Jazeera, Kabul.